Welcome to Azeroth United, a weekly podcast about World of Warcraft. My name is Denethar, and I am your host.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Today is Tuesday, May 7th, and this is episode 34 of Azeroth United. Now, today is a very special day because it's Patch Day. That's right. Patch 10.2.7 Dark Heart is going on to live servers as we speak. Servers aren't back up yet, but hopefully by the time you listen to this, they will be. And so you'll be able to listen to Azeroth United while you run around and do patch 10.2.7 stuff. We'll go over all of the patch 10.2.7 changes and the patch notes and what's coming, and we'll keep you all up to date on that. We'll also be covering some Dragonflight Season 4, Arena World Championships, Season of Discovery news, the War Within news. There's a lot. So pull up a chair, sit back, relax, and enjoy. And as always, if you have any questions or comments about the podcast or have a particular topic that you'd like to hear discussed, please email me at denethar1@gmail.com, or you can leave a voice message by going to speakpipe.com/AzerothUnited. Also, if you enjoyed the show, please consider leaving us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. That helps out our distribution tremendously, so if you're inclined to do so, we'd be very grateful. Before I get to the news, I wanted to do a quick rundown of what I got up to last week in WoW. I ran a bunch of Mythic Zeros because I tried a couple of Keystones here and there, and it just didn't work out trying to get into a pug. I tried to heal one, and I tried to tank one, and they both didn't work. So, that was not fun. But I did run some Zeros on my Shadow Priest and on my Fury Warrior. Did some LFRs. I'm kind of slowly dipping my toes into Season 4. It's been rough. The transition from the old dungeon system to the new one with the more difficult mythic dungeons it's challenging. It'll take some time to get used to, but when we do, it's going to be much, much better, I think, in the long term. I did get a +2 Keystone done on my Fury Warrior. Shout out to WoW Made Easy. That's one of the best groups that I've ever run with. They are really chill. They're all about trying to just be really understanding, helping people learn. They run high-end content. They run low-end content. It's a great group of people. So if you're looking for a group to run keys with, or to do raid, or any sort of WoW content, that's definitely. I'll put a link to their Discord in the show notes. But it's a great group of people. So, all right, that's enough of that. You know what? We've got a lot going on right now with patch, so we're just going to get straight into we'll just get into it.
It's time for the news.
In Blizzard news, the Arena World Championships is ongoing. I meant to mention this last week, and I did not. But so the Cup 3 was last week. Cup 4 will be this weekend, May 10th through the 12th. So if you are you want to piss off your wife or your mother, spend the day watching Arena World Championships on Mother's Day instead of spending time with her. Go ahead, see how that works out. But seriously, if you want to check out the Arena World Championships, there will be a link to the Warcraft Twitch account. But this is the big cheese. The finals will be next weekend, so May 17th through the 19th. So I don't really follow the Arena World Championships as closely as I follow the MDI or the Great Push, but it's pretty interesting. They are, arenas can be really fun. They either go really long, or sometimes those matches are really quick and it's just over and you blink and you're like, oh, that's it. So and I've done arena before, so I'm definitely familiar with how the process goes. So it's fun. So anyway, the Arena World Championships Cup 4 this weekend, and the finals weekend after that. All right, speaking of things that I missed last week, the May trading post was revealed, and I got to say, as far as trading posts go, this has got to be one of the least exciting trading posts I've seen for a long time. The flowery stuff is fine, but I think that the Love is in the Air themed in February, and the kind of the green stuff from March was better. I don't know. The two big things from this one, you get 2 mounts. There's the Blazing Hippogriff and the Amber Skitterfly. The Skitterfly was bugged when it first came out, but it seems to be working now. So if you're looking to spend either 800 or 600 tenders, you can get one of those mounts. There's also a pet. There's a bunch of different, like I said, flower-themed gear and weapons. I'm not going to go through and read every single item because, quite honestly, this is a very lackluster trading post. There's no new dress, so my Fury Warrior will have no new outfit this month. But yeah, so there you go. And there's of course, there's always the returning ones. Oh, something of note: there is the Blades of Elune, which was a Traveler's Log reward a few months ago. I'd say probably about a year ago at this point. The Blades of Elune was 2 one-handed swords that are Night Elfy themed, or Night Elf nature-y themed. They're really cool swords. I'm actually using one of them on my monk right now because it's really cool. Because the monk will put the sword on the back scabbard as opposed to on the hip for a one-handed sword. So he looks really cool with it. But yeah, so if you didn't get those when they were available as a Traveler's Log reward, you can now get them for 600 tenders. But anyway, yeah, check it out. The other interesting thing is the Traveler's Log reward this month is it's a monarch butterfly themed back piece, which is cool. Apparently it doesn't clip poorly with weapons going, so you can have your back piece and have your weapon show if that's something you're interested in doing. I kind of like it when my back piece hides my weapons, but whatever. Like I said previously, the trading post does not always have to be something that I'm dying to get. I'm happy just looking at it and going, nope, I'll pass on 95% of that stuff. I'll get a couple things and move on, and that's fine. So, yeah, but definitely go check out the trading post in Stormwind. I will put the link to the Blizzard article in the show notes, but the best bet is to just head on over to Stormwind or Orgrimmar and check out your trading post. One interesting thing that I did want to point out, there will be a trading post in the new city in the War Within. So you won't have to go back to the old cities to see the trading post, which I like that. So just have everything in one place. And yeah. All right. Anyway, in other news, for Season of Discovery, so we did talk about the transfers a couple weeks ago off of some of the PvP servers, but they are now confirming that they're closing. Let's see, we've got Lava Lash US, Lava Lash EU, and Chaos Bolt EU are all closed to new characters. So this is one step short of just shutting down the realms entirely, and there are still free transfers off of those realms, but basically they're just dead. And if you have a character on there, I would transfer them as quickly as possible because you don't know how long it is before Blizzard is just going to pull the plug on the servers entirely. So I would definitely... I would definitely get your characters off of there if you have one on one of those 3 servers. I think Season of Discovery is a really interesting experiment because they're able to do things and move more quickly than they normally would on and I'm using air quotes here, on a real server, whether it's Classic or Dragonflight. So I don't know. I think it's kind of interesting. But so Season of Discovery. Speaking of Season of Discovery, they are increasing the amount of XP that you're getting for the Discoverer's Delight buff. So for players 1 through 39, you get a 150% XP increase. And for players 40 to 49, you get a 100% increase. Holy moly. They really are trying to get people leveled up fast because they're realizing that they need people at max level because there's just nothing to do. So, like I said, I had a lot of fun with Season of Discovery. I really enjoyed it, but at this point, I'm kind of done with it. I have no desire to go back, and I didn't even get to level 50 on my Paladin, and I probably won't. I might go poke around a little bit on a low-level alt, but quite honestly, I feel like, I'm kind of done here. So, But yeah, check out the new experience if you're so inclined. Okay, so this was released by Blizzard. So, sorry. There's a new short story about Alaria, and it's kind of a lead-in to or a companion piece to the 10.2.7 quest lines that we're going to be doing when the servers come back online. But basically, what it boils down to is Khadgar has asked Alaria to go look at the Dark Heart or figure out what the heck it is. And so before she starts her mission, she goes to Silvermoon to talk to her son Erator, who is it's the son of Alaria and Turalyon. So she goes to talk to him. She's not welcome in Silvermoon. If you did the Nightborn Heritage Armor quest, or the Nightborn allied race quest line to introduce the Nightborn into the Horde, you'll know that Alaria shows up and there's a big issue, and basically Lorthamar blames her for the problems with Sunwell, and there's just a lot of problems, and her void influence is not particularly preferred by the denizens of Silvermoon City. So what that means to her is that the city that she once lived in and defended no longer welcomes her. So she goes to try and talk to her son, and I guess he's just not really interested. But I don't know. I mean, it's an interesting short story. I read through it and it was like, whatever. I used to like to read a lot, and then I stopped. So, I've never really been big into the WoW fiction. A lot of people are, and some people don't really care about any of the lore. But I think one of the really interesting things about this story is that it really explores the relationships between Alaria and the different people in her life, Erator, Turalyon, Lorthamar, and even her relationship with the Void and its influence on her life. And they're building up stuff for the War Within, which is great because I think Alaria is going to be a main character. I love her new look; she looks amazing. I will put a link to the story in the show notes. You go to the link and then you just download a PDF. You can read it at your leisure. So yeah, that's about it for the news. Not a really dense week news-wise, because most of the news is related to what's coming new in the game. Patch 2.7, we've got the Mr. Pandaria remix coming out next week. We've got Cataclysm Classic coming out the week after that. There's a lot going on in the game right now. But as far as just straight news goes, that's about it. So let's get into This Week in World of Warcraft.
Let's talk about World of Warcraft.
In Dragonflight, this is Season 4, Week 3. The Mythic Plus affixes for the week are Tyrannical, Incorporeal, and Spiteful. So Tyrannical bosses have 30% more health and deal 15% more damage. You know it, you hate to see it. Incorporeal beings periodically spawn and cast Destabilize. If the cast goes off, player damage and healing is reduced by 50%. The debuff stacks, the mobs do not take damage, it can only be crowd controlled. Yeah, this one sucks. Now, remember, this is only at Keystone level 5. So if you're doing 2s, 3s, and 4s, you're all good. You only have Tyrannical to worry about. You go beyond that, and yeah, it's going to start to get harder. Incorporeal goes from 5 to 9, and then at 10, we will get Spiteful. Spirits rise from the corpses of non-boss enemies and chase down random players dealing heavy melee damage. Okay, yeah. I'm so glad I don't ever have to deal with this again, because, I guess maybe one day, I should never say never, I might run a 10 to try and get a portal or something, but for the most part, this is beyond my content capability. And I think it really demonstrates just how much players don't really care for these affixes. The fact that players are perfectly happy to run 8s and 9s and not touch the 10s because that 10 affix is usually terrible, as is the case here with Spiteful. And this is just an awful, awful week. Tyrannical, so the bosses are going to be sluggy. Incorporeal and Spiteful, so the trash is going to be sluggy. The boss fights are going to be even worse because you're going to have incorporeal mob spawn. This is just an awful week. So, good luck. Have fun. We're all counting on you. All right. The awakened content for the week is the Emerald Dream. So we're going to get Sign of the Awakened Dreams buff, which will increase reputation with Dream Wardens and Valdrakken Accord. We will have to complete for our quest, The Last Hurrah, 100 Dream Surge. So you have to do the Dream Surge quest, which will be in Thaldrazzus this week. We'll have to complete the Super Bloom, and we'll have to plant 3 Dream Seeds, which honestly is pretty easy compared to what we had to do last week, which is have researchers, the Time Rift, and the Suffusion Camp. That's ugly. The first week is easy because the hunt it's like so brainless. The feast, you're just standing in one place, and then the Siege on Dragon May Keep is over in like 4 minutes. So, I mean, week 2 was the worst of the 3. This one seems pretty easy. The hardest part is going to be getting the 100 Dream Surge, but you could just fly around Thaldrazzus and pick up the little green orbs. Or you can go and do world quests. I think you'll usually get like 10 to 20 Dream Surge per world quest. It'll be easy. You'll get rewarded with the Cache of Awakened Dreams, which will give you a champion piece of world quest gear. And something that you can catalyze, so that'll be really nice if you haven't filled out your 4-piece yet. The raid this week will be Amir Drasil, the Dream's Hope. So for those of you who forgot what we were doing 3 weeks ago, Gnarlroot, Agira, Volacross, Lardar, Council of Dreams, Nimue, Smolderon, Sage Swift, Tindril Sage Swift or T-Swift, and Farak. So I will definitely be doing this at the highest level that I can. I don't know that I'll be able to get into a heroic, but I'm definitely going to try and do a normal raid on my warrior because this is my chance to get Fearlath. I don't really expect that I will, but, you know, maybe Blizzard's put in some better bad luck protection than was in the game before. We'll see. So, yeah, Amir Drasil. And then the world boss is... oh gosh, I forget his name. It's the big giant bear guy in the Emerald Dream. So, whatever. You remember. You killed him a million times last season. So it's that guy again. Orbos. No. Whatever. It's the big guy. Sorry. If it's not written down, I don't know it. The bonus event this week is the Dragonflight Dungeon event. So you'll get the Sign of the Warrior buff, which allows the final boss of each Dragonflight dungeon to drop an extra item, which is really cool because this time for Mythic Zeros, it's actually helpful. Still not for Keystones, but that's okay. Here's the really interesting part about this, though. On the PTR currently, the Emissary of War quest from Khazra and Valdrakken, which asks you to complete 4 dungeons on Mythic difficulty, the reward, instead of being a heroic item from the raid, is 2 antique bronze bullions. So you will be able to get another item. So you already have 2 if you've been running the raid every week. You'll get 2 more. You'll get another one this week. So, I mean, we're going to be gearing up fast. So, yeah, this is really cool. I hope that this makes it all the way to live. And it would make sense because otherwise you have to go, it'll be a reward from 3 raids. I mean, you'll never get what you want out of that. That's a pointless reward. So yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty cool for as a reward. So, and it kind of goes along with the theme here of this is really just a victory lap season. Blizzard is really giving. I mean, obviously they have to give us a challenge, and they can't just hand us gear, but they're kind of handing us gear. So yeah, this is really exciting for me. I will definitely be picking up a trinket. If this is definitely on the live server, I'll get a weapon and a trinket for my Fury Warrior. I don't know about other characters. I think I'm just back on the Fury Warrior bandwagon. I keep trying to play other characters, but I always keep coming back to that one. So whatever. Okay. So Dragonflight Dungeon event. The PvP brawl for this week is Deep 6. Deep 6 pits teams of 6 players against each other in 3 iconic battlegrounds: Warsong Gulch, Silver Shard Mines, and Temple of Kot Magoo. Each battleground offers a little variation on the traditional format, such as flags are a bit closer together in Warsong Gulch, less cards to keep track of in Silver Shard Mines, and only 2 orbs within the Temple of Kot Magoo. So, I mean, it's whatever. You know, this is a do the battleground, but it's slightly different. This doesn't excite me as much as some of the other brawls do, but Yeah, you can still complete the quest Something Different, which asks you to win a PvP brawl, and will reward you with Conquest, Honor, and Marks of Honor. The Northrend Cup is still going on. That will go until May 13th. So there's 12 races. Each one has 3 variants: normal, advanced, and reversed. Yeah, go check it out. I haven't done these yet. I know that there's a couple of new transmog pieces, but quite honestly, that's not super compelling transmog for me. So I don't know. And I really don't love the dragon riding races. But, this is a big thing for a lot of people. So if you haven't done this yet, go check it out. There's achievements associated with them. And I think there's a meta achievement if you do if you've been doing all of the dragon riding races and all the different cups. So yeah, go check out the Northrend Cup through May 13th. The Dark Moon Fair is in town currently, as we speak. It'll be here until Saturday, May 11th. The Dark Moon Fair. Go get your profession, skill, and knowledge points. Go ride the merry-go-round or the roller coaster for the reputation and XP buff. You can get shot out of the cannon. You can fly through the fire rings. You can go watch a concert. You can kill the death metal knight. I mean, there's always so much to do at the fair. It's a great thing that Blizzard has continued to iterate on, and I'm so happy that they have, because it's really just a fun, quirky little thing to do. It's a good side diversion, and you do get something out of it, something helpful. It's not just for fun. You're getting profession improvements, or you're getting reputation or XP increase. So it is worth it. Also, make sure you if you do some of the games there, you can have a chance to get the Dark Moon hat, which will also give you more. So if you don't have to go back to get the experience and reputation buff, you can put on the hat, and it will give you another hour. So it's just something to keep in mind if you are short on either of those things. The final thing for this week in WoW is the Spring Balloon Festival, which is just talking about things that give you benefit in game. This gives you no benefit in game. It's just a fun little thing to do. Fly around on a hot air balloon, look at the scenery, interact with the NPCs. You have to have 3 players to go on a balloon ride. Once you have 3, then it'll take off, and it's a thing. May 10th through the 12th. No achievements or really any reward of any sort. It's just a cool little thing to go do. All right. Finally, hot fixes for the week. Oh, you knew it had to happen. When servers come back on today, we will have a slight Vengeance Demon Hunter nerf. So Sigil of Silence duration reduced to 4 seconds, and cooldown increased to 90 seconds. Okay, not huge. It's good. Cycle of Binding now reduces Sigil cooldowns by 2 seconds per trigger. It was 3, which is good, I guess. They're going to have fewer sigils. And Soul Cleave damage reduced by 8%. So I think they're being very cautious. They don't want to obliterate Vengeance Demon Hunters, but they're miles ahead of every other tank out there. If I'm in a group with a Vengeance Demon Hunter, it's like, oh, okay, we're good. If I've got a druid or a monk, oh, it's terrifying. Just watching them go into battle, you're like, oh, don't die, buddy. All right. A bunch of other classes got nerfs and buffs, but the 2 I wanted to point out, in addition to Vengeance Demon Hunters, is Balanced Druids. Blizzard buffed their Season 4 set a little bit, so they increased the damage of the 2-piece set bonus. They are increasing the damage of Wrathor Starfire by 50%, was 30. And then the 4-piece, it reduces the astral power of your next Star Surge or Starfall by 30, was 15, and increases the damage it does by 60, was 40. So again, it's a slight nerf. They're being careful. They don't want Boomkins to suddenly be the best class in the game, but they definitely need. Boomkins were not going to use their Season 4 set. It was a DPS loss to equip a higher item level Season 4 set than to give up their Season 3. So that's just nuts. And then the other one I wanted to point out, obviously, Fury Warrior got a nice little buff here. All ability damage increased by 3%. Thank you very much. Season 4 set bonus 2-piece. Rampage damage and critical strike chance increased by 15%. Was 12. Okay, that's fine. And then Bloodthirst 4-piece is Bloodthirst damage increased to 35% per stack. Was 30. Again, they're being cautious because Fury Warriors might get an ego on their heads if they're suddenly able to do good damage. So we've got to keep them in check. All right, and then they've gone through and they've cleaned up some Protection Warrior stuff, which I don't play Protection Warrior right now. I haven't since Season 1, but I have a second Warrior that I've been leveling up here and there, and I'm definitely interested. So what they say here is our goal for these changes is to reduce Protection Warrior deaths to the dangers that are most likely to kill them, like burst or magic damage. There are some talents that warriors have for protection against these threats, like Disrupting Shout, Bolster, or Battle-Scarred Veteran, but it can be difficult to find the talent points for them. To provide more flexibility, we are reducing the power of the Battering Ram talent and moving its damage and defensive benefits into core abilities. We're also increasing damage across the board and buffing some defensive talent options. So all ability damage increased by 5%, Devastator damage increased by 30%, which is a lot. Ignore Pain Healing increased by 6%, which is a lot. Disrupting Shout's cooldown reduced to 75 seconds, was 90. Enduring Alacrity increases stamina armor by 10%, was 5. And Haste by 2% was 1%. And then Battering Ram now increases your auto attack damage and speed by 10% for 20 seconds, was 20%. So, warriors are definitely at the bottom of the tank tree right now. I'd love to see them come back up because I love playing a warrior tank, but right now it's just not worthwhile, and I'm having too much fun with the Fury Warrior. So there you go. All right. That's going to wrap up this week in World of Warcraft. Let's move on to something new.
Let's talk about something new.
All right. So like I said earlier, it's patch 10.2.7 release today. Servers are still not up yet. It's 3:30 Eastern Standard Time, so I'm looking for the servers to be up here shortly, but who knows? Okay, so we're just going to kind of hit a quick overview of all the patch 10.2.7 content that's being added today. This is not a huge patch in terms of actual content. There's a lot of story content here. The big content is the WoW Remix Mist of Pandaria event that will take place starting next week. So I will do a separate kind of discussion of that, but when it goes live on the 16th. So look for that next week. But for this week, patch 10.2.7. So first we have the War Within lead-up quests. Darkheart content update ushers in the final chapter of the Dragonflight expansion, setting the stage for the story in the upcoming expansion, The War Within. Khadgar summoned you to Dalaran to help him investigate a mysterious figure called the Harbinger, who possesses a powerful relic called the Dark Heart. The Archmage has also asked Ilaria Windrunner to join you in order to give her unique perspective. So we're going to try and hunt down Xal'atath. Obviously, that's not going to go well because it's Xal'atath. Yeah, this is interesting. I don't know where this story's going to go. They're giving us all these teases with Ilaria. We got the short story that was released today. And we got a little video that was put out last week about, I guess it's the intro to that quest line. So yeah, we'll see how this goes. I don't expect this to be a long quest line. I expect it to just kind of put some pieces in place. We might see Xal'atath, we might not. I don't know. It'd be pretty cool to see her new model in game, but I guess we'll find out when the servers come back online. All right, the Draenei and Troll Heritage Armors are now available. So players level 15 above can go to Draenei players can seek out the magically sealed Parcel in Stormwind and begin the quest An Artificer's Appeal. And Troll players can seek out Ziguma and Orgrimmar, who will offer the quest Return to the Echo Isles. Yeah, I mean, the little teasers they gave us of these armor sets look pretty good. I probably will never use the Draenei one, and I don't have a Troll player, at least not one that's level 50. So, yeah, I mean, I'll do the quest line. I have, like I said, I have two Battle.net accounts, so I have to do it twice. But I do have two level 70 Draenei characters, so they're just both kind of retired until the end of Dragonflight. But yeah, it's cool. And honestly, I think it would have been cool if they had done humans and orcs last. Do all the other races, get through everybody, and then have the last two be the human and the orc. Because honestly, those two quests were the best. I don't think anything is ever going to top those. So, but yeah, it's just me. All right. So yeah, check out your Heritage Armor quest lines. Like I said, the WoW Remix Mist of Pandaria event will start on the May 16th, so I will go over all that next week. As far as character customizations, added 6 new hair colors for Kultirin. Okay, cool. All right, so this is a big one. So in the user interface, there was 2 things that got changed. So the first was the Hunter pet stable has been updated. Now, I'm going to try and describe these changes, but honestly, there's some images, and I'll put a link to an image that was tweeted out about this. But basically, this change is so long overdue. This is one of the reasons why I don't enjoy playing my Hunter, because it's not really a great. It's clunky. I think it was updated in Cataclysm, maybe. And that was the last time it was updated, and it's really not great. So, but what they did is the pet preview window is now larger. All right, more information about the pet is displayed, including a list of abilities, which is great. Pets can be favorited and added to a separate group at the top of the stable list, which is really nice, because then you don't have to, like, if you've got a whole bunch of pets, you don't have to scroll through a bunch of stuff. The stable list is now searchable and sortable by name, specialization, abilities, and more. Again, huge. Trying to keep organized a massive stable of pets. Pets can now be renamed directly from the stable without certificate items. Also huge, because, I mean, maybe not for scribes, but nobody's making money off of those anyway. So, yeah, I mean, it makes sense to be able to name your pet. Like, if I have my dog is here, I can suddenly tell him, hey, your name is Jose now. You know, like, okay, Dad, whatever you want, just feed me. All right, pets can now be released from the stable without needing to be summoned. All right. And finally, for the Beast Mastery specialization, the pet that is summoned by the Animal Companion talent now has a dedicated slot next to the active pet list. The tooltip has been updated to reflect this change. That I love, because it's always a guessing game of, is this the right slot, or do I put it here, or you accidentally move it and you summon the wrong pet and you're like, crap, I gotta go back and go to a stable master. This is so much better. I really like this a lot. This is one of those changes. It's just super long overdue. So I don't know why, but here we are. With the UI changes in 2024. So yeah, really, really cool. Definitely check out. Actually, I can't find the tweet, so I'll just take a screenshot of it from the PTR and put it out on Twitter. But by the time you log in, if you play a Hunter, you'll be able to check it out for yourself. So, all right. Let's see, it says items increase the drop rate of the oozing Necro Ray egg obtained from the Tribute of the Ambitious and Tribute of the Duty Bound. I don't know what that is, honestly. If you know what that is, great. If not, well, whatever. All right, quests. Now, this is huge. All Dragonflight quests that previously became available with renown levels are now available to all max level player characters regardless of renown. Thank you. I've ranted about this before, but the fact that Blizzard was like, oh, renown is completely optional. You don't need to grind it. It's just for cosmetics and stuff. It's not, you don't need to do it for anything. I was like, oh, okay, great. Oh, but if you want to do the story, you need renown. You kind of need to do the story to be able to, whatever. But they've gotten rid of that. And this is just the next step, or the final step in this process before when the War Within comes out and we'll have war bands, then it's not going to matter anyway, because we will all be whatever the renown level is. So unless you just really don't want to do any renown on any characters, then, you know, that's fine. But, I mean, I guess you could make a case for saying, hey, take story quests off of renown, have like the side quests be renown, like the Blue Dragonflight questline is a good one. Okay, make that locked behind renown, but not something that's going to affect the main story. So I don't know. I like the renown system. I think that for the most part, Blizzard has done pretty well implementing it and the changes that they've made, but I do see some slight issues with the way that renown interacts with like story quests and things like that. So do I really want this in renowned quests in the game? No. Does it bother me? No, it doesn't bother me. I just, you know, I don't love it, and so whatever, it's fine. Okay, this one's actually kind of cute. So this is we saw there was going to be a new holiday and we didn't know what it was. So this is the Be Yourself celebration. After learning from Chromie and Calicos about the Visage Day celebrations of Azeroth's past, Emberthal feels pressured to choose her own visage form. However, she remains uncertain of the path she would take. Speak with Chromie and Valdrakken to learn more. I can't wait for this because, I like Emberthal and she's an interesting character, and I think this could be a really fun holiday because of so many dragon-related things. I don't know that this is going to be a major holiday, but like a new minor holiday, I think that's great. Something special for Drakthir, or maybe you get like a Drakthir disguise. Everybody can show up to raid dressed as a Drakthir or something. I don't know. Might be kind of fun, but yeah. So the new quest, like I said, a lot of new quest content in this game. Sins of the Sister is a new quest line in Belemeth. A night elf has arrived in Belemeth to bury the family she lost at Teldrassil, but when her deceased sister is revealed to be a traitor, will the night elves show her sister forgiveness or demand accountability for her sins? Level 70 characters can speak with Malfurion Stormage at the Terrace of the Moon in Belemeth to accept the quest, an uncommon request, and start this quest line. So, more Night Elf content for you Night Elf fans, which I am part of. Yeah, interesting story. I guess it's just a little side quest. Okay, the other user interface thing and this one is really big. Let's see. Several changes have been made to improve the experience of finding groups in pre-made Group Finder. A filter button has been added that lets you filter results for specific dungeons, your role available, none of your class already in the group, tank or healer already in the group, minimum Mythic Plus rating of the leader, difficulty. There's add-ons that do this already. I use an add-on, I forget what it's called, but I guess I won't be using it anymore because this will now be built into the interface, which all good add-ons eventually do get built into the interface. So, this is... the Group Finder has been a pain in the butt for a long time. So, it says the role icons on each listing now show class colors, so you can see your current group's makeup at a glance, which is great. The listing tooltip now shows the leader's info in a more readable format, their Mythic Plus rating, their highest key for the listed dungeon, and their highest key for all dungeons. So yeah, let's get rid of those terrible Raider IO tooltips. Thank you. The listing tooltip now shows the info for all members of the group, including their specialization and Mythic Plus rating. That's really big, because how many times have you gotten into a group and you're like, oh, the leader has this IO and this rating and blah, 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 and you get in there and there's a carry that has low level gear and you're just like, oh, I really didn't want to do this. Especially now that even a +2 is just really difficult. So, okay, the listing tooltip now shows the dungeon raid name and difficulty, which is good because last night I signed up for a Brackenhide Hollow and then everyone was at Ruby Life Pools. So I was like, I guess we're running Ruby Life Pools. A helpful tooltip has been added to teach players so that they can search a range of keys for precise results. For example, 6-10 or 7-7, which, yeah, a lot of people know that, but a lot of people didn't know that you could specify. Last season, searching for a +2 was difficult because you would say, give me a +2, and it would find +20s, which that's not helpful. So I had to do +2 - 2 in order to, and so now you just do the range. 7-7 will give you only 7, 6-10 will give you 6 through 10. That's good. Groups that no longer fit your criteria are marked with red background. For example, if you select a damage roll available and a listed group filled up on damage dealers. Again, that's great because I don't need to be signing up for those groups, and that's embarrassing. You're like, hey, can I be your 4th DPS? I'm a Fury Warrior. Groups you are hard declined from are automatically marked in red and sorted to the bottom. Good, get rid of those losers. In the leader applicants pane, the applicant tooltip now shows the applicant's info in a more readable format. Same way, the Mythic Plus rating, highest key, blah, blah, blah. Which, again, the Raider IO tooltips are terrible. So hopefully this works out better. Advanced filters will now only appear for max level characters. Filter options will now be saved across between sessions, which is also great. Language filters will no longer appear for characters from North American realms because everyone apparently only speaks English. And declined applications will now save between refreshes. Okay, great. This is all good stuff. Hopefully it works out well. Because I'll tell you, the Group Finder is butt. It's ass. It's booty. It's terrible. Yeah, Blizzard has needed to update this for a long time, and they have not. So I'm glad to see it finally getting some love. Okay. In other interface, these are all minor things, but recipes can now be tracked from the crafting orders window, which is great. An option has been added to the auction house filters to show only current expansion items. That's actually huge. I mean, it's a little thing, but oh my gosh, how many times you're like, I gotta scroll through all these stupid herbs just so I can look for the ones that have the 1, 2, or 3 stars, and it's just annoying. So yeah, that actually is a small quality of life thing, but it's huge. The location of dragon riding races can now be toggled in the map filter. Awesome. I like that a lot. I'll keep it off. You can now create or find a group participating in a scenario by clicking the group finder icon on the scenario objective. Again, great. Why wasn't this already in the game? The number of helpful tooltips that appear when logging on to a new character has been reduced. Yes, thank you. We don't need your spam, especially if it's not a new account. I don't need to know how to play the game. I already know how to play the game. Mount tooltips now show the category the mount belongs to: ground, aquatic, flying, or dragon riding, which I'm assuming that's going to change in the War Within, but for now, it's fine. When previewing an ensemble or arsenal, the dressing room will now show a list of items included in the bundle. Each item can be viewed independently by clicking its name in the list. Okay, cool. For transmog hunters. There are mods that do this currently, but again, having this stuff built in, much better. Solo shuffle scoreboards will now show the result of the match: victory, draw, or defeat in the title. Okay, I guess that was a problem, that people didn't know if they lost. I don't know. And then finally, for the trading post, mount categories will now be shown in the trading post details panel. So the same thing: ground, aquatic, flying, or dragon riding. Level requirements for a mount will now be shown in the trading post details panel, and combat and mount special animations can now be toggled in the trading post. Okay, this is great. I love little quality of life changes and things like that, because honestly, this is an old game, and the more things that Blizzard can put in to make it feel like a modern game, the better, because it honestly, in a lot of ways, it feels like an old game, and I don't like that. And I mean, I'm going to keep playing, but why not make it feel new? They changed the interface. It looks beautiful. The new UI, love it. But they can do more. You can do better, Blizz. So I'm proud of you. You're all grown up. So nice job. All right. Like I said, no amazing or groundbreaking content in this patch. A lot of quest content and some user interface changes. That's about it. So as far as the last patch for Dragonflight goes, I'm not disappointed. I'm really enjoying Season 4 so far, even though it's maybe a little harder than I would have preferred, at least at the beginning. But, I still feel like WoW's in a really good place. So I'm happy with this patch. I'll definitely be checking out some of these new quest lines. And, I'm really looking forward to the Harbinger quest line. So I guess we'll see what Blizzard has cooked up for us. Okay, let's move on to the weekly rant.
It's time for the weekly rant.
All right, so I wanted to bring this topic up. This isn't necessarily a rant per se. This is more of a conversation about Season 4 and gearing in general, and kind of the Blizzard philosophy on how gearing in World of Warcraft works, and what the player perception or desire maybe is. So I know that within a MMO, part of the gameplay is the acquisition of gear to improve your character. You get a better weapon, you hit harder. You get a better wand, you're going to cast better spells, whatever. So in this particular case with World of Warcraft, it's a very kind of streamlined and homogenized system where we all know how it works. You get a piece of gear, and then you get a better piece of gear because you ran a dungeon, or you get a better piece of gear because you ran a raid, and so on and so forth. So all that being said, and I know you all know this, but I want to set the foundation of this topic, because the important thing here is that players want all the gear. That's why we go do things like Mythic Plus, Raid, even PvP to some extent. Although each of those content types, you could say, well, the real reward is the friends we made along the way, or the journey is better than the end goal, or whatever kind of maxim, old saying you want to make. Ultimately, the reason we do anything in this game to improve our character is for that gear. We're not getting new spells. We have all of our talent points at 70. If that was all we needed, then we would be done. There'd be no reason to go and acquire more or better gear. So that brings us to Dragonflight Season 4. And as a point of reference, normally the gearing in World of Warcraft is miles better than it was back in Vanilla or Classic, however you want to refer to that. The olden days, as it were. Even in Burning Crusade, there was a lot of difficulty. It wasn't until Wrath of the Lich King that Blizzard started to streamline that process and really kind of clean it up and go, okay, we're going to give you this gear for this period of time and that gear for that period of time. And to the point now where we've got seasons, and each season has its own gearing. It's like a little mini expansion. And within that, you've got the little mini game of upgrading your gear. So, you got a piece of gear. What is it? Oh, it's a veteran 1 out of 8. Well, you can upgrade that 7 times and get it to max 8 out of 8 by spending flight stones and crests and blah 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 blah. You've got better gear. Okay, great. And that's become part of the gameplay loop. You've got to go grind flight stones. You've got to do content for quests or for crests, whatever. But more or less, it's a matter of, what are you going to get out of this? What are you going to, how is it going to improve your character going forward? And in Dragonflight Season 4, we have come up with a new manner of collecting gear. Several new manners, actually. So, first off, we've got, there are 6 levels or tiers of gear in Dragonflight, and it changes each season. The number that those gear levels represent goes up, but the levels themselves are the same. So you've got Explorer level 1, Adventurer level 2, Veteran level 3, Champion level 4, Hero level 5, and Myth level 6. So if you get a piece of veteran gear, you are in the 3rd best tier in terms of how good your gear is. So if you are somebody who doesn't really run a lot of dungeons, doesn't really run a lot of raids, you do world quests, you farm transmog, you do that sort of thing, getting a piece of veteran gear is nice. It's a little bonus. For people who run Mythic Plus and raids, veteran is looked at kind of like, oh, well, that's like basic gear. It's like starter gear. The gear doesn't even really start for those people until champion. And champion is kind of gross because it's not hero. And hero, really, it's a placeholder until you get myth. So, all that being said, there are these levels of gear, and we have all become accustomed to, in the last year and a half, how this works. Or I guess it's a year. Yeah, it's been a year since patch 10.1 came out. So, I'm kind of rambling here, but the point is, we all know how the system works. We all know what the different levels mean. Veteran is better than Adventurer, but Champion is better than Veteran. And so now with Season 4, Blizzard has introduced 2 new things that change this dynamic completely. One, they've introduced the Antique Bronze Bullion, which is something that you get from raids or quests that allows you to purchase your choice of gear, be it weapon, cloak, ring, trinket, that sort of thing. Not your normal armor, not something that you can convert to tier, but just these kind of off pieces. And then the pieces that you purchase, they don't fall into the normal track of veteran, champion, hero, myth. They have their own special track called Awakened. And the Awakened track is leveled using those same currencies that you use to level your gear. So you start with Drake crests, you move on to Worm crests, and finally Aspect crests. That gets you all the way from 1 out of 12 to 12 out of 12, or 14 out of 14, depending on some pieces have a little bit higher. But let's just stick with the basic 12 out of 12 here for the purpose of the conversation. So instead of having all of these different tiers that you go, well, I've maxed out my veteran piece, so now I need a better piece. Blizzard has given us something that we can upgrade, that you can only upgrade as far as you can grind the currency. Now, the reason that they implemented the upgrade system as they did in patch 10.1 is because they didn't want people to go back and run a +2 mythic and get something amazing and then level that all the way up to max level, which is what people did in Dragonflight Season 1. You ran +2 until you were blue in the face, or you got your drop. And then once you got your drop, you upgraded it as far as you could based on how many Valor points you had and what your rating was for Mythic Plus. Okay, so they didn't like that. They didn't like the fact that somebody could get something at low level and crank it up all the way to max level. Well, see, now things are different, because while we do still have 4 different tiers of raids, and the looking for raid tier does start at veteran level gear, so it's pretty low compared to the rest. Mythic Plus starts pretty damn high. A +2 is basically a +12. And a +12 last season, there were people, I'm sure, that called it low level key or mid level key, but honestly, that's a pretty decent, it's 10 keys above the starting point for the Mythic Plus system. That's not a low level key. You can use whatever elite gamer mumbo jumbo try hard nonsense that you want. That is not a low key. A +12 is not low. Just like a +2 now is not low. It's serious. It's hard. You get somebody in there who doesn't know what they're doing, and they're going to cause you to break your key because it's hard. So if you get gear from a +2, why then can we not upgrade that all the way to maximum item level given the correct currency? Now, I know the answer to that from a Blizzard standpoint is that they don't want you to be able to do that. They don't want you to be able to just upgrade gear all the way. Oh, I only run this one content. They want you to vary the content that you run. They want you to spread your wings, as it were, and do a little bit of this and do a little bit of that, and higher level and blah, blah, blah. But you have to do higher level mythics to get aspect crests. You've got to do that to get the currency. You've got to either do +6 and above, or mythic raid. So, okay, maybe +6 and above is too low to get your aspect crests. Maybe you want to make it a little bit more elite. Okay, so let's say you've got to run a 10, or you've got to do mythic raid. If you want to max your gear, call it that. Say, okay, a +10 or mythic raid to get this currency. All right, then what would be the drawback to saying, now I've got this piece and I can upgrade it all the way, given this really hard to get currency that I've now earned enough of, because you don't just need one, you need a bunch. You need 15 per upgrade level, and there's 4 upgrade levels in the aspect crest track. So you would need 60 aspect crests, which is equivalent to about 5 Mythic Plus dungeons. Well, all that being said, if you run 5 10s, you know what? You deserve to have a piece of gear at max level. I'm just going to call it. There's no need to gatekeep this. You should have a really good piece of gear. Call it. So Blizzard has kind of shown the ability to do this. Now, granted, Season 4 is kind of an anomaly in terms of, all right, well, here's what this is like Season of Discovery. Well, they can just make changes. They can do whatever they want because it's not real. It's not a serious season. Okay, I get that. But what is the purpose of a serious season? I mean, what are we doing here? Are we trying to get gear, or are we trying to get score? Is Raider IO rating the driving force for our characters now? Is that what drives us? Is that what motivates us to get up in the morning and go, yeah, I'm going to run a keystone because I need rating? Is it no longer gear that really pushes us to excel? Well, I'm going to do a 10 because I want better gear. No, you don't need to do that. You can get better gear from an 8. So is the Mythic Plus system skewed in terms of where it drops its difficulty? Or, even better, is it that you compare it to a Mythic Raid and you say, well, but Mythic Raid is so much harder. Well, why is Mythic Raid so much harder? Why isn't the hardest content in the game all equalized? If Mythic Plus and raiding are equal to each other, then they should have equal difficulty. Okay, so there's more personal responsibility in Mythic Plus because there's only 5 people. Fine. But if you really want this gearing system to work, you have to make it equal across the board. And right now, there are a ton of Mythic Raiders who are spamming Mythic Plus because it's easier to do Mythic Plus than it is to raid. And you only get X number of aspect crests or gear drops or whatever from a raid. But from Mythic Plus, you can do that until you are blue in the face. And yes, there is a crest cap, but you can keep running and you can keep getting gear all day. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, if Blizzard could just tweak this system a little bit more, I feel like we're on the precipice of the perfect gearing system for the WoW player. Blizzard understands us to the point where they've given us in this Season 4 a way to get exactly what we want. They're not just handing us gear, like I said earlier, where it's like, okay, well, thanks for logging on, here's all your 528 gear. No. But they are giving us a way to reasonably get there. They are giving us a way to reasonably achieve that goal. And even if it's a item that you have to get a currency, it's time gated, every 2 weeks you get a new currency, or you can purchase a new piece of gear, it's fine. Because if you're doing just Mythic Plus, you're only getting 1 myth piece a week anyway. So what's the difference? Why not give us another avenue to purchase those items? Give us some bad luck protection, or even better, make it so that going forward, instead of having to waste your Great Vault on tokens for purchasing sockets, which I think is dumb, get rid of that nonsense. Instead, make it so that your consolation prize for not picking a Great Vault item is 2 antique bronze bullions. And then you can go to the vendor and buy whatever you want. Why would you not do that? Or, okay, fine. You don't want to give it that way. You don't want to make it too easy. Give people 1 bronze bullion. So if you have 2 bad vaults, guess what? You get a prize. You get to go buy your augury. You get to go buy your cataclysmic signet brand. Why not give players a way to have a little bit of determinism in their gear? We already have that at the low level. Give it at the high level. And yeah, maybe it starts out at champion 1 out of, or the champion level, right? Whatever that is, champion 1 out of 8. But you can level it all the way up to mythic or myth 4 out of 4 if you have the right currency. So Great Vault drops 1 bullion if you don't pick something. Next week, if you don't pick something again, now you have 2 bullions. You can go buy something. That is a way to improve the already really good gearing system to the point where I feel like WoW players, so it's Season 4 and we're going crazy with bullions and we can buy whatever we want. Okay, fine. But long term, that's not sustainable, because then players have no reason to come back to the game. But if you give players some bad luck protection, yeah, it's going to make people really happy. How many people ran 2s a million times to get their gear and didn't get it? Or got it and it was like, now it's a veteran piece, so I've got to try the raid again so I can, or try it running a little higher so I can get a better piece. Forget all of that. That's ridiculous. Let people be able to get the gear they want at the level they want. But don't just hand it to them. You got to earn it. You got to work for it. But if you do, you get it. And you get to choose what you want. All right. I think I've talked on this topic enough for today, but it is something I'm going to come back to, because I've talked to a lot of people who do Mythic Plus and who raid, and that's one of the biggest frustrations that they have. The people who are so excited about getting 2 bronze bullions in the Emissary of War quest this week from doing the Dragonflight dungeon event is huge. People's eyes lit up, and not because they were expecting it, but because it was a special surprise, and it was something. It's like giving people what they always wanted, and it's like, okay, well, why wouldn't we do that? All right, I'm going to stop ranting here, but I do think that it's a good topic for another day that I'd really like to get into. So if you have thoughts on it, please let me know. If you have your own ideas for how you could improve the gearing system, please let me know. You can email me at denethar1@gmail.com, or you can reach me on Twitter. I'm at Denethar. Yeah. So anyway, I'll just finish up the outro. That's going to do our show for today. Thank you so much for listening. As I mentioned, you can email me or reach me on Twitter. You can also contact me at Twitch TV. I am at Denethar01, or YouTube, also at Denethar01. And yeah, I'd love to hear from you. So I will be doing some streaming probably this week. I'll do some Keystones on the Warrior. Yeah, I'm always happy to talk to people who enjoy the show. So, all right, that's going to do it for today. Thank you so much for listening, and be good to each other out there. Remember, that's a real person behind that chair, sitting in that chair behind that keyboard. Sometimes they don't spoke right. But yeah, remember to be nice to each other. This is a game, and we're all here having fun, or at least we're trying to have fun. If you're not having fun, maybe you should look at some other things to do, because honestly, you deserve to be happy, and you deserve to be able to smile and enjoy your life. So, all right, take care all. I love you, and I'll see you in Azeroth.